Hi, this is the second video for the 20th of February. Just got one main question that we're going to go through because we want to try and keep it under 5 minutes. Just for your reference, I was actually in the Big Apple in New York this last week. It's good to see, as I've come back to England, that it seems wherever I go I bring the weather with me, because it's snowing heavily here as well. When I went to Dubai in December, it rained torrential rain for 2 days, which turned it into a bit of a swamp. So good to see the weather's following me around. One main question that's come from Andre Sirigar, and what he's asking is, what do I do to try and maintain consistency in performance year in, year out, and also how do I look to improve or increase my percentage of winners or losers? Dealing with that second one first, I'm not really that interested in my percentage of winners to losers. It's a fairly meaningless statistic. What I'm really interested in is the percentage of how I'm disciplined and how I'm actually keeping to the plan. I don't mind taking a loss as long as I take a loss for the right reasons. It's when you start taking losses for the wrong reasons that you've got a problem. Some of the worst trades, pretty consistently, that I ever do tend to be winners, because I simply tend to get out too early, get too short-termist on it, start thinking that, well, done very well today, let's just take that and run, as it were. So normally the trades that I beat myself up the most are about winners. When I lose, I've already understood what my risk is. I'm very disciplined from that point of view. I know what my risk should be. I trade options a great deal so that I lower my event risk as well. In terms of how you keep your performance high year in, year out, that's really about continuing to put the work in. Like anything, there's no such thing as a free lunch, and so to give you an idea of what I do every week, or how I prepare, it's fair to say that every single weekend I will spend somewhere between 8 and sometimes as much as 20 hours studying all the markets, so going through everything that I look at. Now, I do trade all the asset classes. I have to scan 18,000 stocks around the world, so there's a lot that I have to get through, which if you're just in FX, obviously you don't need to do that. If you are in FX, though, you do have to have some sort of idea, certainly what the US stock market is doing, because it still has such a big influence. So what I do there is I look at the market when it's closed. I'm not influenced by prices winging around now. I go through all those asset classes and I see whether some of the relationships are different from what they were in the recent past. Am I getting changes in momentum between those different asset classes? I do write a technical commentary on foreign exchange. I don't do it on anything else, so that keeps me disciplined. And I have to do that every evening, so it doesn't matter where I am in the world, what I'm doing. I have to sit down for an hour and I have to write 6 reports. Now, I can tell you now, there's plenty of times I really don't feel like doing it. But if people are paying for it, then I'm duty bound to do it. And one of the things that came out of me doing some psychological tests and meditation a few years ago was that I was a little bit lazy, and so I needed something to make me do that analysis. When you manage other people's money, that's a very good way of doing it. When I wasn't doing that a few years ago, the idea was to write technical commentaries, because that would keep me focused and make sure that I'm always on top of everything. So that helps me a great deal personally. In terms of other things about consistency, as I said a little bit earlier, it's losing for the right reasons. Also understanding that even as a professional trader, you can have periods where the markets don't really suit the way that you analyse or you look at markets. So you can have periods where you have consecutive losses in a row. I can easily have 10 in a row and I'm not too fussed about it, as long as I'm losing in a row for the right reasons. What is important is when the market does start behaving that suits my style, then I do take advantage of that. The other thing that I look at is shifting my volume. So there's certain times where I seem to be more in tune with what's going on, and I up my volume quite aggressively, and that makes a big difference to my performance. I use options a lot, which means I have a lot of leverage with limited risk or no event risk, and that's very important to me, because in any trading year I tend to hit a few home runs associated with that high leverage with limited risk.